right, good evening, guys. We will go ahead and get this meeting called to order. If you will please.
Bill Lowe.
Here.
Deanna Olson.
Here.
Paul Kaufman.
Here.
Aaron Hallett.
Here.
Ruth Johnson.
Here.
Kim York and Billy King are absent.
Okay. If you'll join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Our mission statement, preparing each student for a successful and meaningful life. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Motion passes unanimously. Thank you. On to recognitions with Dr. Slagle and Mr. Lowe.
Yes, tonight we have several students that we are going to recognize for a variety of accomplishments. I'm going to start with the high school girls cross country team. I'm going to read a little bit about them, and when I call their names, will they come to the front to take a picture with Mr. Lowe. Our first recognition tonight is for the girls cross country team. They placed 5th in the Class 5 state meet last month in Columbia. Members of that team include Ashlyn Smith, who's a sophomore, placed 20th at the state meet with a time of 18:43, was named first team All-State. Ashlyn. Alexis Borum, a junior, finished just behind Ashlyn with a time of 18:49. She was also named first team All-State. Other members of the team include Avery Raymond, Isabel Chatfield, Tiffany Chatfield, Ellie Barker, and Caitlin Figge. I want to see that. Not this group. Congratulations, ladies. Also tonight, we want to recognize our boys cross-country team who placed 8th at the Class 5 state meet last month in Columbia. As I call your name, gentlemen, if you come forward, we'd like to honor you. Luke Volker, senior, led the team by finishing 5th in the state, setting a new school record with a time of 15:22. Was also named to the All-State team. Junior Derek Nissen, junior Blake Borum, senior Patrick Jacobs, sophomore Ryden Deckard, senior Chance Embry, and senior Chris Oberstead. I'm pretty sure all of these guys could be Phil. Yeah. Also here tonight is one proud coach. Coach Johnson, where are you at? There you are, sir. Congratulations. Congratulations, gentlemen.
And one more recognition before you step away from the podium. Oh, there's another student. Hang on, never mind.
Yes.
Oh, I missed
We
that.
have a student tonight who's in rarefied air. I'd like to call freshman Jonathan Requi to the front of the room, please. Jonathan was selected as 4th chair percussionist in the All-State Band. Jonathan is the only Ray-Pec High School student selected this year for All-State Band. He is also the only freshman to make the percussion section and is now considered the 4th best percussionist in the state of Missouri. The Missouri All-State Band held auditions on December the 4th. Over 1,300 students from across Missouri auditioned for the 106 spots, and Jonathan was one of the 106. Jonathan, congratulations.
Great job. Well, to follow that up, we have an additional recognition to announce. This one's for Dr. Slagle. Dr. Slagle has been selected as one of 20 superintendents nationwide to receive special recognition from the National School Public Relations Association, known as NSPRA.
Today, NSPRA announced Dr. Slagle was one of the 2021 superintendents to watch. Each year, NSPRA recognizes up to 25 school leaders with fewer than 5 years' experience for this honor. The honorees are superintendents who demonstrate dynamic, fast-paced leadership with strong communication at its core. NSPRA will recognize Dr. Slagle for this honor at its national conference next July in Chicago, but we wanted to make sure and recognize him tonight. Thank you for all you do.
Thank you, Madam President. Okay, if you came for the recognition ceremony, you no longer have to stay for the rest of the business meeting if you'd like to go home and watch a Chiefs
Something
game.
about a football game on.
Feel free to leave. Students, thank you for being here tonight. Coach, thanks for being here. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, we will move on to our consent items. Is there a motion to approve the consent items as presented?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor? Motion passes unanimously. Congratulations to our early grads there. On to public comments.
There are none tonight.
Okay. Moving on to informational items, a special education program review. Mrs. Wally.
Good evening. I always appreciate an opportunity to talk about the special education department here in Ray-Pec. And tonight, I know that I'll be sharing lots of really great information, lots of positives, but you'll also see some struggles that we've been facing. So before I get started, I want to make sure that you have an opportunity to see some of our pictures that are of our students at Shoal Orley Learning Center, also students that are at our high school and participating in some transition activities. So the team that participated in our special education program review were myself, Jenny Tryon, the lead secondary process coordinator, Risa Bullard, the lead elementary coordinator, Mary Shatford, Director of Early Childhood, Randy Randolph, Principal at South Middle School, Kevin Plus and Ashley Jones, Process Coordinators who represent the elementary, middle school, and high school level, and also Katie Huff, our lead transition teacher. So program impact. The Raymore-Peculiar Special Education Department serves students that are ages 3 through 21. The purpose of the special education program is to meet the needs of students who require special education services as outlined in IDEA and the state and local compliance plan. Our program consists of 588 children who meet the eligibility criteria of one of the 13 categories of disabilities outlined in IDEA. And this is an increase of 16 students since our last child count in December of 2020. Our special services program has an impact on parents, families, and children.
Is that about an average increase? That's 16?
No, it's just every December we complete a December child count, so it is just 16 from last year.
Oh, okay.
Program highlights. We have established a partnership through co-teaching professional development at the middle school level. We expanded this past summer, and we continue to focus on the high school level. We continue to hold our winter event, although last night the weather presented a little bit of an issue, but we have already got plans to reschedule, and we are looking forward to that, weather cooperating. We have maintained a strong partnership with the Cross County Special Education Co-op to pool our resources so that we can support our families with the transition fair, a transition information night, job Olympics, as well as paraprofessional training. We've increased our focus on mentoring new special education staff to support the special education process and specially designed instruction. Or in our world, we have lots of acronyms, and that's SDI. We've received results from our DESE tiered monitoring that our special education department was considered to be 100% in compliance with our state and local our state and federal regulations. We've refined our assessment and evaluation processes, enhanced on-the-job training for our special education program staff, increased our efforts for community-based instruction and on-the-job training opportunities, and added the parent resources information to our special education district website. So reporting on our previous department goals, you can see by 2021, we set the goal for our special education district profile to indicate that the percent of students in a placement category of inside regular education class from 40 to 79% is at or below the state average, and you can see that we met that goal. We were at 26.4%. and the state was at 28.3%. The next goal is the indication that the percent of IEP MAP and MAP A, which includes EOC, students are proficient or advanced at or above the state level. And you can see that we did not meet this goal, and that at the ELA district level, we were at 9.4%, and the state level 14.9%. And then in math, district level 3.2%, and our state was 10.5%. We do believe that the academic impact of our students that you see here in this data is indicative of our hybrid and virtual options. That it is not a trend, that it's an anomaly. We truly believe that many of the school districts that remained in person throughout the COVID shutdown and the pandemic options last year had a greater impact on their education. And then finally, the parent survey results, which indicate a minimum of 85% satisfaction and strongly agree category with the statement, I had the opportunity to share information with the IEP team for the development of the IEP. We met that goal at 92.9%. So the next slide has our program scorecard for special education, and we did align this scorecard with our special education profile. So all of the data that we collect and turn into our state department is represented here. And you can see, as previously noted in our goal for the assessment data, ELA is here, math, as well as reporting on the percent of students inside regular class 80% of the time, because that does show our support for inclusion, as well as percent of students who are employed or continuing education beyond high school, and then our overall parent satisfaction survey results.
I have a quick question while you're right here. Our students can stay here till they're 21. How many of our students do stay through 21 here in our program?
We have, I believe, several students that the IEP team could decide that they would stay. We like to say that it's a super senior situation. So we anticipate that we will have some students next year that will stay, but we previously, since I have been here, have not had a student stay till they're
So where do those students go? Do they just...
So there's not really a place that when you stay beyond your 4 years of high school, it's not intended to look like the same 4 years. The IEP team holds the meeting and looks at the transition plan and determines the skills the student still requires to meet those post-secondary outcomes.
Okay.
That's a great question. So moving forward, our department goals, by 2023, the special education district profile will indicate the dropout rate for students with disabilities is at or below the state average. You can see that we continued our goal based on the need of the previously relayed data that will indicate a percent of IEP MAP and MAP A, including EOCs. Students are proficient or advanced is at or above the state average. And again, we feel like that was an anomaly for our previous data. So we do anticipate with our efforts of in-person instruction that we will see some improvement. And then our third goal, that our district profile will indicate the percent of early childhood special education students who were functioning within age expectations by the time they exited is at or above the state average. We did see that our data, along with the rest of the district data and our special education assessment data, was lower than it's been, and not a trend, but an anomaly.
What is our current dropout rate? Why did you pick the first bullet for the goal? Is it declining? Is it something you guys identified as a risk area?
So it was a jump from our previous data. Last year was at 2.3%, and I'm sorry, from 2019 to 2020 was 2.3%, and the district level, and we last year were at 4.6%.
Do you think some of that was parental choice because of what else was going on?
Yes, absolutely. So opportunities for improvement, you can see that we are really focusing on supporting our students and in-person learning. So we want to continue to establish high quality in-person instruction to support access to general education curriculum and those tiered supports afforded to their regular education peers. We want to strengthen the alignment of professional development to support curriculum knowledge and evidence-based resources for specially designed instruction. And then third, we want to continue the focus on partnerships with parents and staff to develop IEPs specifically addressing the manifestation of a student's disability. Any questions?
How are you doing as far as staff? Do you feel like you have enough people? Are there enough people going into the profession of special ed?
That's a great question. We've been very lucky that we have not felt the true decline of special educators, but it has been a national issue. We are starting to feel that. We have had lower candidate pools this previous year. But I think that is across the state at this point. We are impacted, of course, by the sub shortage and the ability to hire paras. And I think our greatest impact on our special education staff right now has to do with not being able to fill those paraprofessional positions.
What opportunities do you see for special education at the Lead Center or things like that?
I'm sorry, say that one more time.
What opportunities do you see with special education, like with our Lead Center and other programs like that are coming on board?
Oh, I'm so excited that you asked that. So I think for transition, because our high school is really far out from any kind of job, on-the-job training. And so we see with the Lead Center that with the new coffee shop, also with the location,
Right.
that it opens up opportunities for special education students to easily access those opportunities. So we're super excited about the possibilities.
Does our pay for paras, do you think that impacts our para fill rate, or is it just?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I believe that it does. I would always defer to Dr. Hatfield, but absolutely, I think that we're up against other businesses, other offers when it comes to filling those positions. Any other questions for me?
Thank you for all your department does. We know it's a struggle some days, but we do appreciate all you guys do.
Thank you.
Okay, on to the COVID and schools update. Dr. Slagle.
Yes, thank you, Madam President. There's a couple of communications that came out from our district office on last week regarding some changes that the Cass County Health Department made in regards to quarantines. I just want to, again, explain those to you real quickly and make sure we all have the same level of understanding about how we intend to move forward both for tomorrow and then as we come back on January the 3rd. Email that went out last week explained that the Cass County Health Department was no longer going to enforce nor require quarantine periods for individuals exposed to those others who have tested positive for COVID-19. As you know, since the beginning of this pandemic, we have relied on the health department to inform our practices and direct us in how we should handle COVID-19 situations. So when this change was made by the health department, we in turn updated our current procedures and protocols and also assimilated those into how we were moving forward with quarantines. So any student or staff with a positive case of COVID-19 will continue to be expected to stay at home per our board policy on communicable diseases. We will continue to contact trace every positive case so that we know about who may be exposed to that positive case, and then inform the parents and guardians of those students to let them know that there may be a potential exposure to COVID-19. However, in alignment with the Cass County Commission as well as the Cass County Health Department, quarantines will not be required based on those close contacts per the latest guidance. We will continue, this is important, I want the board to know that we plan on continuing to offer rapid testing for students and staff who have been exposed to COVID-19 and who want to receive a test to know that they are positive for the virus. So not only are we continuing to contact trace as an informational piece to let people know, we're also providing that ability to get tested to know for certain if they have become positive with COVID-19. As we all know, pandemic guidance and directives change from time to time and sometimes quite rapidly. As we have throughout the pandemic, we will keep you abreast of any new information that affects our protocols and procedures. We have incorporated these to our procedures and protocols for this week, and that's how we intend to open January 3rd if nothing changes between now and then. I appreciate your patience and grace through all of this, as well as that of our community and staff and our students. We've made our way this far through the pandemic, and we know the parameters we are looking at coming back to on January 3rd, and we will again try to meet those to the best of our degree. I'll be happy to stand for any questions if you have any. Thank you for your support on that.
Okay, on to the elementary playground equipment. Dr. Pettengill and Mr. Dobson. Good evening.
Good evening. Going to kind of tag team this a little bit, but as this group's well aware, we spent over a year putting together a long-range facility plan and identifying the needs, the current needs, and the future needs of the district, to our current facilities and what we needed to add. That led and came to a actual official long-range facility plan that the board approved in November of 2020, which then led us to a plan for Proposition S, which our patrons overwhelmingly approved, which is fantastic. So now you get to start seeing some of the fruit of all of that. So pretty excited. Tonight you're going to see several action items about playgrounds, which is 3 different action items because the equipment, the turf, and the site work that goes with that process. We're also looking at a new fire alarm system at Timber Creek, which doesn't sound very exciting, but it's a pretty big deal with the building of that age to get that updated. So Mr. Dobson's going to walk through those action items. He's going to give you the number of bidders and the administrative recommendation for each of those. So, Scott.
All right. Much like before, we seek the help of ATHCO to help us in the design of the playgrounds at both Creekmore and Peculiar Elementary. So we'll go ahead. I don't know if, that's fine. We don't have to look at the photos. You have the photos in your board docs. They're kind of interesting to look at. They're very, very unique playgrounds. We seeked all the input from the building level teams along with student impact. Students had a big impact actually in the design of both playgrounds and the BLT teams on both sites. So I'd like to make a recommendation to approve ATHCO in the sum of $384,595 for the equipment and installation at both Creekmore and Peculiar Elementary.
I will say I appreciate having the sensory pieces in there for the kiddos that need those sensory pieces.
Yes.
So thank you for looking at that piece to it.
I will say, as I mentioned and we spoke, just so that all parents can understand that we're losing the swings there. But as we talked, it's extremely a very, very large price per swing for that. So that thought was in there, because I know that will be the one thing that will be
Sure. You may
sad.
talk a little bit about how we addressed that
Absolutely.
previously.
So we worked a lot on the vesicular movement as it comes. So you'll see there is a lot of motion and balance in both designs of the swings, along with what Ruth said to do with the sensory areas. So we have a really unique sensory area we're going to be designing at both playgrounds. It's off by itself. It's kind of hard to explain without seeing it, but when it's installed, they're very, very unique. But yes, there's a lot of balance. The teeter-totters is a big add. A lot of the wobble pods, spring riders, and there's also a couple of boogie boards.
And I believe none of our playgrounds the last couple of years have had swings, have they?
They have not.
That's due to the required landing space, the safe landing space that's mandatory per swing. It's extensive.
Are on these the design, I'm not an architect or anyone like that, but like right now there's certain areas of the playground that kindergartners can't use, you know,
Oh, in the current setup.
in the current setup, especially at Creekmore, because I'm aware of that one. Is there anything like that here, or do you think this will be open for everyone? So they can't use like the monkey bars or the like gymnastics little bar until they're.
We do believe that all aspects of these playgrounds will be able to be utilized. We also did have a representative from every grade level attend the designing.
Okay.
So every age group had a different opinion. So yes.
So is there a motion?
I move.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor? Motion passes unanimously. Thank you. On to the elementary playground safety surfaces.
All right, exactly. We do install on all of our playgrounds. We have installed turf on the last several playgrounds, along with a 2 1/8 inch foam padding, much like a carpet pad at home, just much thicker, if you will, that goes underneath all the playgrounds. This is a ballasted system. It does have some sand inside of it. No crumb rubber to come back inside into the classroom to get in the carpet and to annoy teachers, if you will, with all that fun, or the custodians as well. We would recommend to move forward utilizing the co-op purchase as well with Sinlon for an estimated value or a quoted value of $113,357.18.
Do we foresee any issues with getting this stuff in time with all the delays and a lot of pieces right now?
All vendors to date feel confident in our deadlines.
Okay.
How long is that supposed to last?
What was
How
that? I'm
long
sorry.
is this? What's the time life?
About 10 to 15 years. That is warranted for 8 currently.
Okay.
We have currently had no deficiencies. Our oldest one is from 2017 currently. We have had no deficiencies in those. We do maintain them every 6 months. We have an outside contractor that comes in and grooms them and sanitizes as well. We've seen great life so far.
All right, is there a motion to approve the bid from Sinlon utilizing the National IPA Purchasing Program for playground surfaces at Peculiar Elementary and Creekmore Elementary playgrounds in the amount of $113,357.18, plus a contingency for any unforeseen conditions?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor? Motion passes unanimously. Thank you. On to the elementary playground site work.
All right, so this one is much larger to prepare both sites at Creekmore and Peculiar Elementary for the new playgrounds, as well as redoing the parking lot at Creekmore Elementary, for safety, and then also to help utilize some of our traffic patterns, if you will, for student pickup and student drop off at that building. We're going to be making some small modifications there to help expedite that student pickup and drop off at Creekmore. We did, for economy of scale, we did lump all 3 projects together to try to drive a much more competitive price, if you would. Through the help of HTK and Call Valley, plans were drawn out, and this was taken out to bid. We had a mandatory pre-bid meeting where we had several vendors show up, At the end of the day, we only had 2 that ended up submitting bids on this project, and we are recommending Mega KC, which is the low bid, for $1,617,550.
Have you used them before in anything?
We have not. They are a new bidder to Ray-Pec.
Have you talked to like other school districts around?
We did, yes. They extensively, actually, pretty much only work in the public sector exclusively. So they came very highly recommended.
Is there a motion to approve the base bid and alternate number 1 for playground site work for Peculiar Elementary and Creekmore Elementary for Mega KC in the amount of $1,628,950 plus a 5% contingency for any unforeseen construction conditions?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor? Motion passes unanimously. Thank you. On to the Timber Creek fire alarm.
All right, last one this evening that I have for you is going to be for Timber Creek. We are in bad need of a replacement of the fire alarm system there, from a complete rip and replace of all the notification devices, all the signaling devices, and this will be going into the new current code for IBC 2018, which will be a fully addressable and audible system. So if you've been in any of the restaurants or schools lately that talk to you, this will be that system as well. We did solicit this one for bid as well. We did get 2 bidders back on this one, and we are recommending all systems as the low bidder for, I believe it was $77,591.
We've used them before, haven't we? Yeah.
We have, yes.
Is there a motion?
Can I ask a question?
Yep. Yes, absolutely. I'm sorry.
What do you think the large discrepancy between the 2 bidders?
That's a great question. There was a miss on the low bid when we did make that phone call. There was several misses actually on the bid, but they value a relationship and are actually holding their bid.
They missed part of the scope when they put their bid in, but they're going to stand behind it.
Okay. I'll motion on that.
All right. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any further questions or discussion? All in favor? Motion passes unanimously. Thank you. On to the Lead Center guaranteed maximum price.
Very good. This is a very exciting time. The Lead Center, I don't know if you've driven by, I actually go out of my way and they have fence up. So we've been in the weeds for what feels like years, doing all of the behind the scenes and diving into the design plans and the construction documents. And tonight we get, well, first of all, the reason you're seeing that fence up in December and not another month from now is because of the early package that this board allowed us to do. And so we're going to see things like all of the demo work will be done within the next month. The mezzanine steel, because we did an early package, will be up. The mezzanine will be taking shape by March. The storm shelter that we build inside that facility that can hold everyone that would be in there at any given time will be covered and filled in by March. So we are on track to have this facility open in August for our kids. So that's pretty exciting. So as we talked about, we got that jump start with the previously the board approved a partial GMP on some of those long lead items and allowed us to go ahead and get steel ordered and procured and on the way. So tonight I'm here to present the remaining guaranteed maximum price, or GMP, that between our architects and then J.E. Dunn's budgeting process is put together. And this is a guaranteed maximum price. So this is a worst case scenario. When they build in the allowances for, it's almost like contingencies are built in there. Well, they are. So this would be the maximum price. I'm confident we will come in under this. So be glad to answer any questions. And I want to point out one thing. It may be a little bit confusing. The previous GMP was the $1,686,587. Tonight you're approving the remainder of the guaranteed maximum price. So this will be the final one for the Lead Center at $7,189,825.
And this is still cheaper than what building from scratch and
Oh my,
getting
yes.
something in. So just a plus.
Yes, very much so.
So it's what we did last time, part of the 7?
That's,
or-
you've already approved the 1.6. This is the 7, almost 7.2.
So you said 7 additional, so it's going to
7 addition. This will be just shy about $8,876,000
Okay,
and
so I
change
just want to make sure I
total
understood. Right.
between the two GMPs.
Okay.
I did notice the fence go up when I was driving by, and I thought it was very exciting. It made sense since we had just started the demolition, which I thought we did a very good job breaking down that wall.
I know I asked for a credit since the way Paul went after that wall and had it about knocked down, so
Yeah.
it was a board effort for us. They didn't give us credit for it.
I'm still offering to help out.
Did this kind of fall in line with what we preliminarily thought?
We've, obviously Scott and I and the architectural team and the construction, there's some escalation here that when we were planning this 2 years ago, it's higher than that, but it's falling in line with the budgets that we thought going into the bidding process for each scope.
And by providing this, then we can go out and do the orders and get all of the materials and all of that in line so that it's here and ready when you're on that
Absolutely.
phase.
If the board approves tonight, I'll be in conversations this evening.
Well, is there a motion then?
So move.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any further questions, comments? All in favor? Motion passes unanimously. You can get to work now.
Awesome.
Before we
Well,
leave
one
that
more.
item,
One more.
before we leave that item, I want to thank Dr. Pat Gill and Scott Dobson. Last year at this time, we were still contemplating in buying that site, and now we have approved a guaranteed maximum price to get this thing done by August of 22. So a lot of hard work has went into that, gentlemen. Thank you, and keep us on budget.
All right, on to the ninth grade center guaranteed maximum price.
So similar to what we did with the lead center, where you allowed us to do a partial early GMP, a guaranteed maximum price, so we can go ahead and get some things rolling. The roofing material is an area that was originally causing us a lot of hesitation when you keep hearing me talk about potentially putting off the opening till 2024. One of the main drivers of that concern was roofing material. So part of the process tonight is I'm asking the board to approve an early GMP for that roofing material. Just let my content expert here talk about what that is. I think it's fasteners and some insulation.
Yeah, currently it's actually, lead times are actually the longest on insulation and fasteners, just actual physical screws, to mechanically fasten the insulation down to the steel decking. It's actually, most cases, anywhere between 35 to 50 weeks. So we are wanting to get that ordered as quickly as possible.
Wow. So
So
Okay.
I'm sorry, is there a motion to approve the guaranteed maximum price for roofing materials for the ninth grade center in the amount not to exceed $360,280?
Can I ask a question?
Yes, please.
Sorry. With all of these purchases, we talk about the co-op or those things, where are these or do we give this permission and then J.E. Dunn goes and does the purchasing, or are you doing the purchasing? What does that look like?
there's a mix. It depends on which scope. Anything that's on the GMP that is being purchased through we're just approving a max number, and then they have to make all of this work using these bidders. But that's why you're not approving each individual bidder, because that's on them, because they're the construction manager,
Uh-huh.
so they're managing all of that.
Okay.
And they do advertise for public bid.
And they open all of their bids at Raymore-Peculiar. In a public setting, we've asked for that. In terms of the roofing material,
Yeah, roofing material typically we would purchase through the co-op. We will be coming back in January for the actual physical membrane that you would see.
Do we have rules or requirements with these large projects? I'm asking for my information. I am sure you already know and are aware. But like with the type of vendors or opening it up and requiring a bid and all of that, even with it being under J.E. Dunn?
there's a little bit different rules when we are public. We have to publicly advertise and open in public all the bids and give rationale why we choose who we do through a public board meeting like this and action items. J.E. Dunn is held to that standard by the district. They have the rules. I wouldn't dive into the legalese of it. But we ask them to meet all of the standards that we would do if we were doing it on our own,
Okay. Thank you.
and they do.
Okay, so is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any other questions, comments, discussion? All in favor? Motion passes unanimously. Thank you.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
gentlemen, for all your hard work on those things. Okay, on to the John T. Belcher Scholarship nominee.
We would recommend Madison Busby for the nominee for the John T. Belcher Memorial
Okay.
Scholarship.
Is there a second for that motion?
Second.
Okay, any other discussion about it? Okay, all in favor? Motion passes unanimously. That'll get passed on to the regional level then. Next, on to the Cass County Kids First legislative priorities.
Yes, before you tonight is the official version of the 2022 legislative priorities from the Cass County Kids First. This is a consortium of the 10 school districts in Cass County, along with board presidents that take a look at the legislative priorities and advocate for the priorities that you see before you in this upcoming legislative session. This document has went through review and revision over the past couple of months by the 10 superintendents in Cass County along with their boards. Each board of education within Cass County will be approving this document to be part of the common platform that we will be advocating for in this upcoming legislative session. This document comes before you with a recommendation for approval tonight. I'll be happy to try to answer any questions you might have.
Is there a motion to approve the Cass County Kids First 2022 legislative priorities as presented?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion. We're going to need everybody's voice this next session. It's going to be a tough session. Looking at the pieces that they have already pre-filed, they're just slamming public education. So it's going to take paying attention to see if we can try to counter some of it this next session. So
I will have in my weekly update to you, a synopsis of the week's work in the legislative session, where education is most impacted, and as the time comes for strategies that we might need to employ moving forward.
all right, all in favor? Motion passes unanimously. Thank you. Now on to the MSBA Board of Director nomination.
Yes, as you know, your board president has served in the office of the vice presidency of the Mary Area School Boards Association to move to nominate the president for the office of president-elect. A board action is required on that, and so this action comes before you with recommendation for approval this evening as well. Thank you for your service.
Absolutely. So is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any other discussion? Nicely.
Maybe.
All in favor? Motion passes unanimously. Thank you. On to committee reports. Team Ray-Pec met the other day. They're starting to look at benefits package, or what's important to them for this next year. The calendar committee has been very active and trying to potentially look at a calendar in a new way, not just for next year, but moving forward. So that'll be interesting to see where the teachers go with that. And I think that was about the highlight of the talk. Dr. Slagle updated them on legislatively where everything is at and then where the budget is standing. So
Strategic plan has met again, still in process. And got some survey results, got some interesting things there. So it's moving along.
Tagging on that with strategic plan, thank you for bringing that up, Mr. Howlett. The February work session will dive deep into the strategic plan as to where we're at that point in time, so the board can have that's your the mid-range part of the process, so you'll know exactly what's been discussed and where we seem to be headed, or where the committee seems to be headed with a recommendation to the board for the May board meeting.
Superintendent's report.
Yeah, I'm going to keep my comments brief tonight, and I just want to wish the board a happy holidays, and thank you for your support under one of the most trying semesters that we've seen in public education for quite some time. We'd be remiss if we don't recognize how hard our staff has worked in creating a great learning environment for our kids each and every day. So hats off to them. I hope they get some time away to be able to recharge and decompress from what has been a very unique first semester. To that end, the board has a holiday message that we have put together going to the public tomorrow. So if you see your smiling faces wishing everyone a great holidays to our public, I wanted you to be aware of that first before you see it tomorrow. It's a great picture of everyone. There's nothing to worry about whatsoever. But we did want to convey your holiday greetings to the community as we get started with the 2-week break tomorrow for most of our employees.
Okay, on to Board of Education comments. I would say I've been reached out to by several teachers, even just out in public, their appreciation for the 17th letting them out early, and then for the extra days second semester. So I said I would pass that along, that they greatly appreciated it. And the choir concert was amazing. If you didn't make it the other night, sorry, you really missed a good one. All right, moving along to calendar of events. Our next regular board meeting is, the date's not on there, is in January. 6 p.m. closed, 7 p.m. open, and we are adjourned. Happy holidays.